What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and this is Big Games BS brought to you by Den Media Group, presented by thehumidor.com. Am I squared or am I like weird? Do I need to turn?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
There we
All right, all right. I was just looking at myself, but brought to you, what you're not supposed to do in media as a guy who does TV, I should know. Don't look at yourself in the camera, but like, for those who don't know, one day we'll get another camera person so I can see behind the scenes. Like, but there's literally a big ass monitor right in my face, and it's me. So, but do that all over. This is at Big Games BS brought to you by Den Media Group, presented by thehumidor.com. Thehumidor.com is the go-to cigar, tobacco, whatever you need resource. Go there. The prices are already cheap. They're already at a great value. And if you type in Sports Den at checkout, they're gonna give you 20% off. And if you get over $150 dollars worth of products, they're going to give you free shipping. There is nothing better for you. They got the best brands. They've got all these different things. I was talking to the Cigar Czar, Chris Gwaltney. We got to get some more things going on. It's just been a crazy year for them with tobacco, with the COVID, with the shutdowns, them never slowing down. Then business picking back up. He's in Vegas right now at a cigar show. Technically, I'm supposed to be in Vegas, not next week, but the week in 2 weeks. But I don't think I'll be able to swing that one. Because the place that we brought to you by is Goodfellas Cigar Lounge. It's our cheers. It's where everybody knows your name. And we basically just, my partners here have a vested interest in adult chicken wing establishments. And apparently everything in the world has conferences, right? Including adult chicken wing establishments. So I think like the third week of July is the National Adult Chicken Wing Establishment Conference in Las Vegas. And I was telling my friends about it. They were like, why would you go to one of those? And I'm like, because technically my boss said, I need you to go out there. And I know it's going to be a splendiferous occasion. But we were picking on people because there's, I think, around that same time, or in July, there's the porn convention or the porn awards and stuff like that. And I made the comment, why would you go to one of those? It's kind of weird. Like I know a couple of them from my youth, from growing up. I don't know any of the new ones except for Mia Khalifa. But the only reason I knew who Mia Khalifa was is because she was a big Florida State fan. And
She's old now.
Yeah, she's old. But yeah, damn, that's crazy how fast it could go like that. But shout out to Cherokee, Pinky, Black China. Get so many of you guys, man. Y'all got me. Y'all, for the people who have had experience and got 65% out of me, those women right there are part of the reason why you had a pleasurable experience. So sorry about that. It's Friday. I get a little bit goofy and uncouth on Fridays. Fucking Fridays, if you will. Petty Fridays when we're on Sports Den. But this is one of those days where I won't lie to you. I really miss being on local radio. And why I say that is because it's an outlet. More people can hear it, and just some of the tea, as the continent and community and Black women call it, that I've gotten is just so dope. Like, college football is changing, and old pilgrims are losing their collective minds, and I love it. I had a great conversation with a good friend of mine, and the only thing as American as apple pie is change and resistance to change. And with that, the status quo, I must be wrong. I gotta get that right. That's not her thing. But the status quo, like, always pushes against change, right? And what's crazy about it is, had they just made little concessions, they could have everything that they wanted and nothing really had to change. But I've never seen it to the point where people are willing to cut off their nose to spike their face or throw it all away. History has told us that Abraham Lincoln isn't as great a person as we thought. He was, well, these aren't the reasons why. He was a gay wrestler, but he had a lover besides his wife. He never slept. He didn't sleep in the same bed as his wife. But those aren't the reasons why he's not good. The reasons why he's not good is we call him the great emancipator, and he has an eye. One, he didn't think blacks were very intelligent. He never thought we should have the same rights. And he made this quote: if I could preserve the Union and keep slavery, I would. That's not me making anything up. That's not no CRT shit. That is legitimately an I quote from Abraham Lincoln. And what that means is, had the damn Southern states just said, you know what, come up with some things that they kind of already came up with down the line, you could have got compensated, which they did get compensations on. When people say they can't get reparations, you got reparations. You got the slave owners got reparations. They got paid. Something that Lincoln put into effect. Washington, D.C., I think it's Washington, D.C., where they got $9,000 per slave. Hell, British over in Britain, they just got done paying back the loan they took out to get, which ended up being like $1 billion to give. Like they put out a tweet, yo. The tweet's the wild, like it's so wild. Some of the stuff that people go. Congratulations to African Americans. Your taxes help pay back the freedom of your ancestors.
Wow.
History is wild, man, and it won't make you mad, but if you don't understand it, you'll never understand where you come from. But my point with Lincoln is, like, had the Southern states just made a few concessions, they would have never had to get rid of slavery. That's the wildest part of this whole thing. And people were fighting a war for the top 1%. So poor whites fought other poor whites for the rich whites in their hood and their set to be able to have a bunch of money that they ended up getting paid for anyway. That had that 1% just made like a age limit. Like you can't be born. Make it if they would have just made it indentured servitude, they would have still been able to keep slavery. They was like, nah, son. Nah, son. All of them weren't created equal. But that's not what this is about. What this is about is taking that same principle to the NCAA, and what we're going to get into today. And we may not get all the way into it as deep as I want to, because I've got some friends who really, really know some of the nitty gritty, and I want to be able to have them. I'm going to get into some of the reason why that's national news and why that's making headlines, because it's wild when you think about it. But I'll have that's my lawyer. I think her IG is like finance attorney or pretty smart law. My bad, pretty smart law. Shannon. I don't even want to pronounce Shannon's last name wrong, because having a sister with an interesting ass name, they be getting mad. And she light skinned. My sister's light skinned, and this lawyer is light skinned. FSU alum. Very intelligent. She practices entertainment law, so she's got some perspectives on name, image, and likeness. So I figured I'd bring her on, and we'll get her perspective, and we'll check her out. We chopped it up on the phone, and I'm going to give a really good intro. Actually, I'll go ahead and do that now, because I think she's coming on. I'm gonna have her on relatively early, so before I get into my 8 o'clocks and things of that nature. But like, I knew who she was, but how I got introduced to her was by my friend Aaron. Aaron, me and him have gone back and forth for the last 5-6 years. Aaron tragically passed away not too long ago. In February, actually, he died while I found out his death while I was attending my great uncle Harry's funeral in February. And he had brought to me in November about trying to get into this name, image, and likeness world. And I said, I really didn't want to have any parts of it. But the way he presented it, I was like, damn, that's really, really interesting way, very shrewd, very business oriented. Cool. He brought up this attorney Shannon, who we've got many mutual friends, including my sister. She follows my sister on IG. My sister follows her. A lot of stuff followed her. Incredibly, I'm impressed by the things that she's been able to do. Unfortunately, when Aaron passed, I was just like, man, I don't want no parts of this. And then that's when my guy Michael Underwood came to me with the exact same plan. And we did Micanopy 1851, which is making headway and will be a part of my very, very busy July coming up. So keeping in contact with her, my man Aaron in death is still continued to do some dope things. So we'll have her on whenever she pops up on the thing on my big ass screen that's right here in my face that y'all see me looking. Y'all used to me who watch me live. Y'all used to me looking down at my phone, but I don't, and I'll go into that too. Yo, I had to use a computer this month.
This month.
Like, I don't know the last time I've typed something before. I either write it down or I text it with my thumbs. I had to write out a program for World Gym for some for their sports performance thing. And God, that was like waterboarding me. I tried to email, then my computer shut down. Then I tried to like email it, and I tried to put it in a PDF, and it didn't format properly. So like, hopefully, I don't lose the contract. But he's my good friend Jared Sirocco. But hopefully, Jared gives me some grace when it comes to this, man. But bro, like, I should have charged you more, dog. Do you know how difficult it is for me to type right now? And I type well, but it's just not the typing. It's me sitting there and typing it. Like, I could have typed it on my thumbs and given you everything you wanted, or everything is up here, man. It's a computer, old school hood mentality, man. The more stuff you write down, the more the feds can get you. So you got to keep it up here. And I got a big ass head, so that it helps. I got more storage. It's like 1 terabyte up here or 2 terabytes, so I can like. But I can freestyle you a workout way faster than I can type it for you. So, okay, she's getting on now. So good. That was good filler. So that's part of the reason. But I got some good heat. I'm gonna try to keep this under an hour. But fuck you, Draymond Green. I've been trying to like the Golden Skin Nuggets or whatever their name is, Golden Skin Warriors. But you keep making me hate you. The NBA, what the hell is going on? Like, it's crazy. You got people getting paid, and my 8 o'clock. I'm going to get to this 8 o'clock. I don't like when men and women put their hands on each other. I don't understand it. I hate people who put violence against women. But yeah. So I don't even know this guy's name, but I gotta curse him out once we get done. Now, what you're gonna do is I don't have my suit on, but if I knew she was coming on, I would have dressed the part like I normally dress when I do this show now. But I just thought it was just gonna be me today, wilding out, and I have my comic book geek shirt on, and I got my Art Basel Jordans. Now, I'm always gonna have some expensive shoes, but when I have an attorney, I'm gonna try to enunciate my words. I'm gonna speak clearly, and I'm gonna try to sound intelligent. I'm gonna sound like T.I. a little bit, so I'm gonna try to use big words like farcical and things like that. But go ahead, bring Shannon onto the stream, Miles. And there's 3 of me. I don't need 2 of me. We just need her. There we go. We get focused on her. Can you hear me? Okay. So this is the.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you gotta get a mute off. I don't know.
Oh, she muted herself. She has to unmute.
Oh, okay. Shannon, you gotta unmute yourself. Okay.
Can you text her?
Yeah, let me text her. This is our first live person right now. So outside of Denny, can you hear me? And I'm gonna give extreme grace to ourselves and to her, because if anybody watches me on Mark Rogers, y'all know how bad I am when it comes to technology and stuff like that. Can you hear me, Shannon? And then Miles, you're gonna have to like also let me hear her in the background.
Okay. When she gets it's a little like microphone button in the upper right corner for her.
All right. All right. Can you hear me, Shannon? Oh, 1 second. Give her 1 second. All right. So, all right, while she's doing that, we're gonna come on. Shannon is an entertainment lawyer. She's actually a lawyer. What I've learned is you go to law school, right? And in law school, I thought you just pick the degree you want. She ready? I thought you just picked the degree you want, but like they give you like this broad scope of things that you kind of learn, but then you kind of once you start working, you kind of focus in on your expertise. And what Shannon is she does all kinds of law, but she's got a chance to have a passion and some extensive experience in entertainment law, which a lot of people have looked at name, image, and likeness as this new devil that just appeared out the blue. But when in reality, all it is marketing deals. It's and marketing has been around since sports were invented, and so she's got extensive experience in that. Did we lost her? Okay, never mind. She picked up a new stream.
Yeah, she picked up.
All right, we're gonna get this straight.
Here we go.
All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
You gotta push.
There we go. Perfect.
But Miles, you gotta. I can't hear her. I can't hear her, Miles. You gotta like. All right. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to try to work with the delay, but I'm gonna because that's the only way I can hear you. But I did probably a really bad job of introducing you. So can you introduce yourself?
You did a great job because I heard nothing. I'm attorney Shannon Ligon. I'm originally from St. Petersburg. I'm a ex-athlete myself. I actually left college, going to play sports I said I didn't want to play for a team. I wanted to own a team. So I'm an attorney by trade. I've worked in entertainment and sports as an attorney for 15 years, but I've worked in sports in the music industry probably for over 20 years because that was one of my first jobs in good old Tallahassee. Was working for Clear Channel, which is one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world, and then working for Florida State University collegiate programs. I worked in men's basketball and marketing. I was the one that came up with the Robinson Energy Zone. So I saw your rant yesterday. I said this is totally up my alley. So before the passing of these NIL laws, I was representing athletes and brands working in this space. So with this changing of this, that's what I've now been doing even more. It's just it's more players coming into it. So I'm founder of Pretty Smart Law. I've been an entertainment criminal defense attorney for 15 years now, and just excited to share my knowledge and my passion. And I feel like I'm a gatekeeper in this space. So I treat my clients like they're my little brother. So they get big sister or Auntie Shannon advice most of the time. I'm usually the one that tells them no. So I'm not one of those lawyers that can be bought. I've seen the worst of the worst stories. I've worked in entertainment till in sports, like my first deal at the age of 25, I negotiated for one of my NFL athletes against Drew Rosenhaus. And that's when I quickly found my space. And why I'm so passionate about this, I said, these poor athletes do not have representation against these agents. Like, who's negotiating against the agent? So even with that one deal, I negotiated Drew's percentage down, which saved my clients hundreds and millions of dollars. And he had a great, 10-year plus career, and how he's even one of the, businesses I represent in this NIL space. So enough about me. I know you're on a discussion, but that's basically my intro.
Oh, no, it's perfect. Works out. That's, this how this things work. You come on, you give us your expertise, you get paid by letting other people know who the hell you are. And thank you for representing somebody against Drew Rosenhaus, because Drew is very shrewd.
Yeah, he's a shark. That's why I tell people, I'm like, I'm a lawyer. So as a Black female, I work in one of the most cutthroat industry that exists. It's very toxic. I work with, white male ego as a lawyer. So also to work in sports, that's one of the most cutthroat industries in itself. And, as a criminal defense attorney, I'm like, shoot, the average drug dealer on a good day, he's blessed to make six figures, but the average athlete and entertainer, they're making millions. Like, so what industries are really more cutthroat and, things happen. So, yeah.
To hear 50 Cent and Jay-Z talk about it's different when somebody has a gun in your face. It's easier to deal with than these people in these business rooms that are really trying to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things is, with you being in an entertainment law and on the pro side, what are the similarities right now with that and then what these young 17 to 22-year-olds are going through?
Right. So, my expertise in entertainment, in music, I kind of see these athletes, they've always been, assets, your physical assets. So, I hate and love sports, as a business in a world. I consider it no different than going on the auction block as slaves when clients are going to the combine. But with sports and these changes, musicians are intellectual property to the music industry. And the contract and the record labels, those are the banks. So just like with music, with athletes, I see these athletes now, professionals are getting paid, but now we've opened the door, for collegiate athletes. And really, you and I both know, working in sports, this has been going on. We're just taking the curtain away, which it trickles all the way down to AAU and middle school kids till, I broke into baseball. I was going to DR signing 17 and 18-year-olds because I saw them getting taken advantage of by agents, and they, playing baseball with the stick, till now I even see with the proliferation of soccer or football, depending on where you're, Spanish country, I see kids soccer even being inundated, and like they are tracking, these soccer, kids who are, some of them barely from this country. So I kind of got off task with the question, but, I'm seeing them more as intellectual property. Like, yes, it's name, image, and likeness, but I'm an IP nerd. That's what we call intellectual property. So while I'm glad to see, athletes being compensated, because the NCAA and those powers that be, they kind of were on a witch hunt in this space and not protecting the athletes in the schools at times, but were some of the first ones to put down rules and try to regulate it. So now with these athletes, like treating them like musicians, you have to think of how many ways can I monetize this brand. So that's how you tell them, you can have to figure out, you want to make sure you own your name, you want to make sure you own your image, because you could sign one bad contract and now this XYZ company you took a couple $1,000s thinking took some pictures for paid money. Now they own your name and your rights for 10, 20 years. So if parents and athletes don't know what they're signing and know how intellectual property works, copyrights, trademarks, even things that aren't necessarily named and protected, like non-fungible tokens. I'm doing deals right now in the music industry where people are making one song and selling it 15 times, which I completely could see somebody creating, a hologram, rookie card and turning that to an NFT. So depending on how smart the business person is, we need our athletes and the people that are representing and protecting them to be that much smarter too.
So when you bring up IP or intellectual property, can you explain, like, because again, I'm learning that not a lot of people can read,
Right.
and everybody's not as smart as they can. But if you can dumb it down to a fourth grader,
Right.
like for me, so what IP is, and some of the different ways that a kid can get trapped with IP, thinking that they are safe. I know you kind of dabbled in it a little bit there, but if you can kind of expand on it a little bit more.
So I think of intellectual property versus, this is why it was hard in law school. Like, you have real property, things tangible. I can see. Real property is real estate. That's what we call real estate. It comes from real property law. Versus we have things I can't see and touch, non-tangible, non-real things. That's what intellectual property is. So those are the things I can't necessarily touch, but I can see them and I can hear them. So those include things I can see, pictures. That's a type of intellectual property because I can see it, but I can also touch it because it's tangible. But what I'm protecting is the visual picture of it. So you a bundle of rights in intellectual property. So intellectual property are normally anything except real estate. Okay, so that's art, pictures, music, sound recordings, even music notes, dance, anything that can potentially be protected by a trademark or a copyright. So, that's what intellectual property is in a fifth grade version. If I did my best to explain it, it's anything non-real estate is what could potentially be considered intellectual property. So I deal mostly with trademarks and copyrights, but then the third nuance of intellectual property is patent law. And those are, you know, inventions. And you actually have to be a barred patent attorney because they take a bar, which a lawyer takes, but then they also take the patent bar, which is a highly skilled science and math component. So those are the three main categories of intellectual property: copyrights, trademarks, and then patents. And then again, because we've gotten this metaverse, there are things in the 5D and meta space, but those are still protected under potential trademarks and copyright laws, because that's what lawyers would use those language, things now known or later created, because we didn't know the internet was going to be here, you know, back in the, I guess, 70s. But when you put that protective language in there to say things now known or later created. And so how does this affect an athlete? Okay, well, say, I'll try to do a recent deal I just did. They said, company comes in and says, hey, athlete, I want to pay you $1,000 for 5 pictures, and I want you to post it up on your Instagram. So my client's management company comes to me. They try to hire me, which creates another issue, which we kind of spoke about before, is like, who is the client? Is it the athlete? Is it the brand manager coming to me? Is it the parents? You know, so it's a lot of issues that come. So in this deal, they said, I want you to take 5 pictures, I'll pay you $1,000. So I'm thinking, to a college athlete, that's probably good, you know, money, but that's not enough money, because as a lawyer, I'm thinking about all the risk, what goes wrong. That's what I get paid for. What goes wrong? Because when people are doing good business and things are good, they're good. But when things go bad and someone gets a cease and desist or gets sued, it's my problem. So I'm like, $1,000 isn't enough money. Let's make 5 of that, because I have to, you know, my client's paying me. I charge a lot by the hour. You have to pay the 20% to the consulting company or the manager. But then I got to thinking, even if my client, this athlete, gives the pictures to this company, you don't own the intellectual property. So intellectual property, like we said, are those 3 things we usually, everything non-real estate. But with those 3 things, you get what's called a bundle of rights: the right to reproduce, the right to recreate, adapt, make pictures, anything you can do to recreate it. That's why, remember when we had Napster and all that stuff, people were getting sued about pirating music? That's because they were violating the copyright laws in your bundle of rights. The record labels basically said, I'm leasing you this song to own it, but you can't download and stream and sell thousands of copies, which was the same problem back in the day when we had CDs and mixtapes. You bought that one copy of the tape, but they weren't giving you a license to go bootleg it and sell it, you know, so you get a limited license, which was the same issue I realized with athletes when they're negotiating these contracts. They don't realize all these intellectual property things I'm thinking of. So I came to this client, I said, okay, you're asking for these 5 pictures. If we take the pictures, my client doesn't own the pictures. So in copyright law, he who takes the pictures owns the rights and owns the masters. That's why photographers and artists, they technically own the original copyrights, because they took it. The person in the picture has what is considered their name, image, and likeness. So do we kind of understand those 2 nuances? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you get a different set of rights if you take the picture, I created the copyright work, versus the talent or the athlete that would have been in the picture. He has a whole different set of rights. And that's what the NIL laws are basically saying. That athlete, you can license your name, image, and likeness. But these deals that are coming across my table, I'm like, you guys are trying to pay and negotiate for things that athlete doesn't own. He doesn't own the copyright interest in that picture once it's taken. That owns to the photographer. So then I said, add another $1,000 on there, because now this athlete needs to pay for those rights and license so he can assign what this company is trying to pay him for. And so that's what my issue is. These companies don't even understand the implications they're putting these athletes into, because they don't even understand intellectual property. They just trying to get in and trying to get on and push their, you know, fitness product or apparel or whatever,
right,
you know, it was. So
you really gotta like ask permission for the person who took your picture to make money off of your image. But technically, the athlete could be a jerk and say, don't post my image. But conversely, so they're both rights, but like in order to make money, you kind of got to work with each other.
Exactly. And so that's why I said to the athlete, I said, if you go pay him this money for these pictures, I want to make sure you own own the pictures and we'll have an assignment license, because the company trying to hire you wasn't smart enough to think and do that. So at least now my client's getting paid and he owns the pictures and name and in the pictures away from that photographer. So then he can go sell them or do whatever, he wants to too, without worrying about a cease and desist coming from the photographer. So again, it's a lot of implications off of one little deal that I don't feel like these college athletes who are barely, in school know how to navigate, let alone the people trying to contract them. Because say, for instance, they did that deal and we didn't do it the right way. A copyright, like if that photographer would have taken his work, filed it on copyright.gov for the $45, got his registration back, and he now owns a federal copyright. They post that picture, they send a cease and desist, don't take it down. That could be up to $300,000 each violation. So we just don't know the amount of risk that we're putting these kids into unless you're, you know what you're doing.
So that's why a lot of times these big marketing deals, like if it's a Dr. Pepper or a Gator, they bring their own photographers that they've contracted. So they own the IP or and then they also have the contracts for the athlete. So they have the name, image, and likeness. So in this thing, there's a lot of collectives, and then there's also agents. From your perspective, which one maybe gives an athlete more protection, or which way should they go, or should they have both?
So with the collectives, every school or, department, the collective could be owned by who knows. I've seen schools are making their own collectives, and there might be booster or alumni in that collective. So again, it's who's advising, who's a part of that collective to say what's in the best interest for those athletes, because that collective could have the best interest of that school, like we see happening, in a lot of these big, Division I schools, Texas, doing these big deals because they're pushing a brand. They're pushing the brand to make sure we're the most, knowledgeable. We're the most well-known name. We're getting the best, recruits. Celebrity has gone very far. Look what Deion Sanders did for an HBCU school, just off that alone. He pissed off a lot of people with that, but that's what that celebrity and power and things can do in this space. And then, I'm sure Jackson State, if they have a collective, I don't know, you probably know more about, them in schools on a specific basis, but, who would be on that collective versus, this whole situation didn't even exist 2 years ago. So with agents, if you are a new athlete, I kind of hate saying this, since I work in this space, but I think it's true. In a lot of pro sports, I don't even feel like they need an agent, because these contracts, they're form contracts, they're fill in the blank. A 10th grader can really do them because they're form contracts. The real skill and value of an agent is, what is their relationship with the team? Can you get, which I feel like value of an agent comes when you're out of your initial contract. Can you get me picked up by a team for, a high performance pay when I'm out of contract and, subject to league minimums, so that's when I feel, agents are most effective, when they have better relationship with the teams and the owners. But even again, that's not guaranteed, because big agents, they going down who's the next, hottest thing coming from college. They're not worried about a, 10-year vet that can't get on a team, that has mental health or crazy injuries and all these things that the teams know about. These are the real decisions. These agents move like a business too.
So one of the biggest things that you can advise some of these young guys that are listening to this, or the guys who are in college right now, is lawyer up. You need a lawyer, maybe not as much as an agent or a collective, but you definitely need somebody that can understand the language. Because I've seen some of these contracts, and I've advised other collectives or talked to other people and said, keep it simple for the part where you're trying to represent them, because they don't understand it unless you're trying to take advantage. But I got the contract, and it had that, I call it the Old Testament language. the therefore, hither, there, and all this other stuff. And I'd be like, man, listen, I graduated in 3.5 years, but when I see that, my mind shuts down. Let me just send this to an agent. I mean, to a lawyer, so that they can read the legalese. What are some of the pitfalls or the predatory things that you can kind of anticipate that's going in this? Because you talked a lot about basketball, excuse me, about music industry, and we know about the 360 deals and stuff like that. Is there something like that these athletes need to be worried about?
For certain, I feel like 360 deals are coming into the sports industry because
actually before that,
Mhm.
I know what that is. I don't want to explain it in my way because I might butcher it. Can you explain to us what a 360 deal is?
Okay, so in contract law, a lot of these deals we work off percentages and commissions. So most times in the industries, management, which a lot of these things that happen in music are now happening in sports because now we're representing brands and talent. They just happen to, instead of singing a song, they dribble a basketball or catch a football. So basically management contracts or recording contracts, they used to take a piece of percentage. And then someone got smart about the time when Rihanna came out, and then there was a big jazz artist who was one of the first people that got offered a 360 deal. So 360 means when I used to take a 20% of the pie, normal managers take between 10% and 15%. And then record labels for small artists, they can take anywhere from 5% of a record album to 20%. So deals back in the day used to get a percentage of the pie. Now what a 360 deal means, I'm getting 360 degrees of the pie. I want a percentage of anything I touch of your income. So that's potentially now happening with athletes when they're getting offers from these collectives or these managements or consulting companies saying, look, I want a percentage of anything I bring to you that has to do with your name, image, and likeness, which could be potentially harmful because you could sign up to a contract. You think, oh, this is just a year, right? It says a term. It says a term of a year, but it could say a term of a year, but you're to deliver, let me just keep it simple, 100 posts and pictures within that year. And if you don't do that, the contract automatically renews for another 5-year period. So what you're looking at, you think it says a year period, when really that's not the term. The term is turn in 100 things within 365 days, which is how artists used to get screwed in recording contracts. So they say, oh, I'm signing a record label for a 5-year term. No, what it says is you are to turn in 2 albums within 6 months. I have to approve it. If I don't approve the album, record label does not deem that as a record, and then the contract automatically renews and renews and renews. That's how these contracts can be very complicated when you don't know what you're doing and reading, because one clause could trigger another clause, but because that talent or athlete didn't perform and deliver the things timely, it triggered this to automatically renew. So again, these are some of the smart tactics I could potentially, and I have seen happen in sports where they're saying, hey, I'm going to contract you for this, but they don't realize, like, yeah, you just signed for them to take a percentage of revenue. If you open up a retail store, open up a Shopify page, do any of that, because what you just signed off your name, image, and likeness, but you just also signed off saying they could create any products and put your name and your logo on it, and they're getting a percentage of it, and or worse, they could own it. So I've seen this happen I have a client right now, it's so bad. I'm going, my consultant that's asking me to work with this athlete, I'm going into this deal knowing this agent took $10 million from his other client. So I'm going into it thinking you've stolen from my guy that's been in the league 10 plus years. And then I come to find out his financial advisors have a movie deal with him. And I'm like, who is letting him sign this? This is a huge conflict of interest, because this is a household name guy that's now signed a movie deal with his financial advisors who potentially own every right to the movie. And they could put that out and make millions off of it. And you're supposed to be his financial advisor. So again, it happens to pro athletes, and it's just going to trickle on down to, it's happening to our collegiate athletes with, the NIL starting till we figure out these regulations.
Yeah, and I think maybe more regulations will come. I know one of the things that you saw on my IG post, and we do a really good job with reels. Don't do the best job, but we do a good enough job. But there's so few rules. Now the
Mhm.
rules are hard place for eligibility. But what you're saying is it's really like more to it than that. Forget your eligibility to play. It's like how it messes you up in life after that,
Mhm.
or like in the business side.
You could license your name away for life. We've seen it happen to musicians like Kendrick Lamar just helped, I think it was Anita Baker get her music rights back. So again, signing something and you don't know what you're signing and you've just licensed your whole name away. Or not being proactive is a risk because there's nothing stopping me. Tell me a number one draft pick coming out. Like I won't know his name, but he's the hottest thing coming out. All the teams are looking at
In this up and coming draft.
this upcoming class.
Oh damn, who was to be the? Oh, Bryce Young,
Okay,
Alabama.
Bryce Young. There's nothing stopping Shannon Ligon or you right now from going to file a trademark with his name or creating a picture or a t-shirt design with his name and going to copyright it. So that's why I'm almost like from birth, just like how the IRS gets our social security, maybe trademark your kid's name, because even after you trademark it, you have an ongoing duty now to continue to update it and register it. And now I've even seen the trademark office, because of COVID and with the influx of all these new intellectual property things, they've even taken measures to protect safeguards against from people doing fraudulent transfers and what I call intellectual property leaching.
Yeah, one of the first things I did when all my kids were born was buy the website, put Twitter handles, Instagram, whatever the social medias were. But I never thought take it one more step in trademark it, especially since my name and my oldest son's name
Are so similar.
pretty common. Not just similar. It's
Right.
like I've actually went to school with two James A. Colemans, the seconds.
Right.
So like I can't really trademark that, but we can trademark their nicknames. We can trademark their stuff. Now Killer, his name is Kai. So
Mhm.
ain't very many that spelling. If somebody does that, I'm gonna sue him because you just literally bit my whole style. We worked on that one. But man, this was really scary and insightful though at the same time. So now it's some people that I gotta go talk to and say like, hey man, y'all need to do woo woo woo. But we may have to get you on some more so we can, as this NIL continues to expand, to explain the legal side of it, but also I'm not into like just scaring people because you gave some
Right.
some gems, just some
Right.
free game.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna give you some hope. Like this is what you got to look out for. But if you do X, Y, and Z, you should be able to be protected of it. And at the same time, like you said, trademarking, a bunch of other stuff. That sounds very simple, but you probably should get an attorney for all those things, right?
Right. I mean, and get an attorney or become informed. Like I only know this because I study it. I'm a nerd about it. Like I go to law school and they tell you the basics, but I became an expert in this space because this is what I do 12, 15 hours a day is, read and write contracts and study and research this stuff. So again, becoming educated, becoming an advocate about it, because legislatures and your politicians don't know an issue exists until we bring it to their attention. Two resources I want to drop if I could that I'm a part of. I am on the executive. Uh-oh.
You showing my pictures, Miles. Nobody
Oh.
want to see.
I'm on the.
Like,
I was like, oh, what did I do?
That's my Tinder. Miles is working on my Tinder profile stuff.
Oh,
swiping left. No, I'm just joking.
Oh.
Just joking. I'm not on none of that stuff. Please don't look on me.
I'm part of the Florida Bar Entertainment and Sports Law section, which is a division of the Florida Bar, but we're geared towards attorneys and those interested in entertainment and sports law. I encourage non-lawyers to join us because we have so many so many resources. So I think a non-lawyer can join for 45 or $50 for a whole year. We give free continuing legal aid classes, but really what it does is it puts you in the mix and company of people like me and my mentors. So you can get this free information and you know who the players are, because I feel like as a gatekeeper, there's a lot of people that want to say they work in entertainment and sports, but it's a very small niche of us that actually do. And so you want to know who the players are. You want to know who the banks are. Like there's a bank that just moved here from the state of California and New York that are looking to invest in entertainment and sports deals. I wouldn't even have known if they were here had I not been at our annual convention. So, again, it's access to information and these resources. So you can Google Florida Bar. It's EASL, EASL, Entertainment, Arts, and Sports Law section of the bar. You can join it as a non-lawyer and for $55, we have continuing legal educations. We're going to start doing more events. And two, I feel like finding a lawyer is part of it, but you want to also find the lawyer that's a right match for you. I am a no attorney because I'm protective.
Run that you said a lot of letters, a lot of consonants. Run that back.
EASL. Let me see if I can get the right exact. So Entertainment, Arts, and Sports Law. If you just Google Florida Bar, EASL. It stands for Entertainment, Arts, and Sports Law section. And I'm pretty sure it's floridabar.gov/E. So, but I'm going to find that just to be sure. And then what are some other resources? I've very active. They've helped mentor me in this space is also the Black Entertainment and Sports Lawyers Association. That's known as BISLA. That is also the creme de la creme of people of Black entertainment and sports attorneys, agents across the world. So if you go to easel.info, that's the Florida Bar portion for lawyers and people in space. It's easel.info. And I encourage easel.info. And then the other one is BISLA. I think it's bisla.org. So again, I'm not active in BISLA. I'm going to get active again, but I just did a great panel and speaking engagement for them. And again, it's utilizing the resources, going to their annual conventions. And that's how you can get a lot of these deals. It's, entertainment and sports is not what you know. A lot of times it's who you know too. So they have their annual convention coming up, BISLA in Mexico. And then they do things online throughout the year. Another good group I'm a part of is the North American Law Conference. And so when you go to these things, law, I'm talking about like BISLA, I'll be sitting next to, the VP of the Players Association for every sport that exists. The other one I encourage people to go to, it's North American Law Summit. It's nallawsummit.com. I'm part of that group. I speak on that annually. But again, that's internationally, like the who's who in entertainment and sports. So if you can't join, sometimes just going to their events or, finding out what their summits are. So many resources are online virtually. And a lot of these people that speak on there, they're at the top of their game, working and litigating, these cases and issues that come up in the sports industries and business all the time. So I feel like I'm being a lawyer and talking too much. So thanks for having me.
Nah, man. I did look at the clock and I'll be like, well, goddamn, she done took my whole damn show and made it to NIL. I had some other stuff I got to get into, but when it's good and it was flowing, and again, you just dropped some good nuggets, man. So this is in a lot of college sports and message boards, and there's so much talk about name, image, and likeness, and it's by a bunch of people who have no experience in name, image, and likeness. They're also like, whether it's people who've never played sports before and they only cover it, whether it's people who've never seen a marketing deal before, or it's people who are just mad because, and again, this is not disrespecting anybody who only makes this. I have no problem with that. My mother ain't never make a lot of money, but most of these people have never made more than $35,000 and they're mad that maybe a 17-year-old gets a chance to make some, I don't call it life-changing money per se, but money that's different than what anybody in their family has said. And I say these things like, we need more advice, we need more game, because this is where it's at.
Right.
It's not going back. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube once you squeeze it out.
Right.
So now, how do we make this better? And yeah, I definitely got to get you back, because you just helped my. Wait a minute, hold on. I might have to delete this because I don't want Rising Spear or anybody else to see this shit, because we're gonna have all of this with Mikinopi. First and foremost, I seen the North American Law Summit is in my second home, the Dominican Republic. Any chance to go to the DR, I'm hopping on it. And then you said Mexico is where all the black people, the black entertainment. I'm the only black person in my company, so Mike and Chris, y'all can't come to the black entertainment one. We're gonna segregate you on that one.
They're open and inclusive. It's just
but
like
it's just
you need your
really
own
good
space. So yeah.
No, it's really good. I appreciate it. We'll definitely keep in contact. Please, anytime I post something about NIL, I think the dialogue needs to happen. And you didn't disagree with anything, but even if you do, it would have been so well educated that I would have to listen to it. And I think the problem with social media today is people aren't having discourse. Mm-hmm. And you bring this stuff up, and it's either I have a counterpoint to it or I got to accept it and get the information and learn. And I think even some of the comments that we've had is people like, wow, I didn't know about this. I never thought about this like this. So that's the whole goal. It's about educating and arming these young men and women for not what they're going through for this 4 years. It's how to leverage that into the next 40. Because a guy like me, no experience in entertainment, really the only experience I had was watching T-Pain and them come up, and they didn't know what the hell they was doing. You can go look at them. They done lost money and made money again. But just really watching, and I've used my 4 years to be able to leverage myself into a pretty good career. 20 years after the day I signed my grant and aid at Florida State. But now I'm sitting here thinking, like, am I covered for like the touchdowns that I scored and did all the work? Am I covered to even share or repost these things? It's a wild thing. Now I see why my homegirl Melina Myers, who's a photographer, is very adamant about at least getting her credit, because she could be way worse than what she is.
Yeah. It's so important. That's why I'm such an advocate for the artists and for athletes, because I feel like people think because of the limelight they get so much, when I'm like, no, they are often the ones most pirated and taken advantage of. So again, I think maybe the next one, my personal financial advisor, he's actually in this space and he's an ex-athlete, but I'm not going to disclose the school, but that's why I want to see if he can do it. But because he does financial advising, he might be a good fit to talk about how do you set your kid up for financial success. And he also, which, speaking of creating these collectives, he is working with the Florida school and advising a collective. So again, I said collectives can be good when they have the right people at the table advising, these athletes, because, that's why I feel like I am good in this space, because I don't even know who half my clients are, whether they're artists or an athlete. I just know I want your paperwork right and I want you paid and protected, which that's what my concern is, So I've seen, to your point about the 17-year-olds, I was representing college kids for free, getting them out of their criminal defense cases. And that favor repaid because I saw them putting $3 Slurpees on credit cards. And then 7 months later, they're multi 10, 20, 100 millionaires because of athletics. And so now that they're retiring, I'm like, I hope y'all paid attention and had all your stuff correct and listen to your financial advisors, because now is the time. You made the money. Now the real goal is, did you learn how to keep it? Because the average athlete, I'm going on a tangent. I know we need to go, but they have some of the best incentives in pro sports that they go the most unused, which is why the average pro athlete ends up broke or bankrupt 3 to 5 years after being so. So there's a whole nother thing we can talk about money.
Who you telling, man? NFLPA? I didn't even realize what my benefits were. I had a teammate show me what the discounts we get for rental cars. I said, man,
and
just
players skip that stuff. And that's what I'm having the black advisors from the PA tell me they don't even show up to the class. And we have some of the best benefits in the world. Right. I'm like, how do we fix this? Because what happens is they went from a family that was happy making 50,000 to now they're the breadwinner. And so the little space in money saving stuff, it doesn't matter because now I'm getting $100,000 or 200,000 every 2 weeks, and it's not hitting home till I'm 5 years out the lead trying to figure out how do I pay this $20,000 mortgage.
Well, we're gonna do this again. Give me the financial advisor.
I'm gonna start tagging you. Thank you for having me. Have a safe holiday.
But seriously though, get that financial. Unless he went to University of Florida, then we got to squabble. But now I'm just joking. But give me that. I want to be able to give people the platform. We want to give people the tools and the games. But I appreciate it. We'll talk offline.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a good
no
weekend.
Doubt.
All right. Bye.
That's Shannon right there. I forgot to ask her how to pronounce her last name properly. But at That's My Lawyer on Twitter, Instagram. What did she say? She say pretty fine ass law or something like that? Or pretty smart lawyer. Yeah, that's it. Basically, go check her out. Really, really good. Completely took over my show. But that being said, it was great. It was really, really good. And as long as it's going in that direction, man, all this other stuff will be there. But keeping up with obligations, because today is the first of the month and I got to bill them. And if I could be legal, I'd play Bone Thugs in Harmony because it's got to wake up. But my favorite people, Green Acre Sporting Goods, the go-to outdoor people, like, we're going to get some good footage. I am going to go straight Black Blambo, if you will. I'm putting the eye black. I'm wearing Army fatigues. I don't even know if I got the shoes to match that, but it's still going to be some fresh J's. No, you know what? I'm going to be like Killer. I'm going to buy me some black Air Force Ones, Army fatigues, eye black. Z, I want the biggest knife that y'all got. I want to throw it at something. I'm shooting bows and arrows. I'm shooting I always forget the name of it, but the crossbow. I want the biggest gun. I want to shoot this. This is going to be for my birthday. That's all I want to shoot for my birthday. And y'all should come too. Check them out. Green Acre Sporting Goods. We still got the concealed carry class. Oh, let me take this out. This is throwing me off, man. Now I ain't got to hear nobody else. But you know how hard it is to like talk and you're hearing yourself. If you heard me pausing, it's because I'm talking and I'm hearing it like a half a second later. And it was throwing me off. But anyways, we got concealed carry classes. If you're gonna get a gun, even if you own one of the biggest problems right now is people gun ownership is up, and we're all about 2A on this show, but people don't understand the responsibility that comes with having a gun. So if you're going to get it, you need to know all the rules. You need to really know what self-defense is, and you need to know the responsibility that you have behind that bullet, and nobody teaches it better than Green Acre Sporting Goods. I promise you, that man will make you're going to still want a gun, but he's going to make you understand just what it is. We still got that little Taurus 380, $199. Man, that baby got some power. If you want an Anthony Richardson, we have a 30. You still get an Anthony Richardson. Just putting that out there. Just, if you still want one, but please, buy it, get it the right way, purchase it. It is for not for personal vendetta usage. It's for recreation and things of that nature, man. They got all of them. They got Berettas, they got Rugas, they got Canics, which I personally like, 9mm. They got Glocks. They got all these different things that you want. Personally, I believe everybody should have a pump shotgun and a 9mm for personal defense. They've got plenty bullets. And what you got to realize is in this day, they're about to restrict the usage of ammo cells by 30%. So you need to go buy this now because again, I know a lot of you people don't understand simple supply and demand. Supply and demand is the root matrix, basically, or what do you call it? The formula for capitalism. So when the supply is restricted and the demand stays high, that means the price goes up. So that's just letting you know, get it while it's cheap right now. Part of my hate o'clock would be my father. Love him to death though. But Miles was there. Like this man literally, every time he calls me, somebody's getting shot. Or somebody's doing something, man. And it's just the wildest story. My father, shout out, he's a legend up in Columbus, Ohio. Survived a firefight with Columbus PD and beat the charges and all this other stuff. But he's got some wild ass stories, man. But that just kind of made me. I just thought about him. I was going to talk about him more, but man, we're gonna have to do another show. Not today because I don't really know. I don't even know where to begin because shit. Like that was just really, really good. She took I was expecting her to be 15, 20 minutes, but you got to let it roll when it's rolling. But we'll talk about I'll get on it again maybe tomorrow or on Sunday. We'll talk about the college football. I'll go ahead and have my guy Pete. Again, I ain't gonna pronounce Pete's last name. I think it's Schoenthal. Y'all got these interesting ass names. Y'all know people gonna fuck it up. But we're gonna try to have Pete on, and then Pete's gonna give us a detailed. I'm gonna talk about what I believe about the landscape. Then Pete's gonna hop on, give us his opinions, and we're gonna solve all the world's problems together. I know where I want. I'm going to bring it. We're going to go another 15, 20 minutes. Sorry, it's going to be a long show. But I'm going to start it off heavy, and then we're going to end it light. All right. I hate abusers. People, the reason why I'm not all in on Brittany Griner right now being free, not because, like, I believe in the OJ karma. OJ killed them 2 white people. Now, we all celebrated because OJ got off because we never thought a black man would get off on anything like this. But we know he know what happened to Nicole and Ron. Now, what he got busted for and did 10 years for was bullshit. Like stealing back your own property and fake-ass kidnapping charges. OJ got it. They couldn't get OJ on the murder, so they got OJ on that shit. And they threw the book at him. It wasn't right for that, but they had to make up for the end. Brittany beat the shit out of her last girl. And she was struggling paying, and she wasn't paying child support like she was supposed to. Don't nobody give men no backouts for that shit. I ain't giving her because she want to be a man. So she's getting that karma. It still stinks that she's getting it over there. But y'all need to stop that shit where if she was LeBron James. LeBron James ain't never did nothing illegal. And LeBron James also made Space Jam 2. Brittany Griner ain't did none of that shit. Don't compare her to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan saved Earth from the Monstars. So, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is I had no idea who this guy was. But apparently he's pretty good. But his name is Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges put work in on his wife. Around the time when he's about to actually get a new contract. So, like, she's got swollen, he's hitting the ear, in the eye. I don't care. Eyelashes off. I don't care what he did, what she may or may not have done. But like, it doesn't make it right to hit somebody like that when you are a highly tuned, highly trained professional athlete. I think that's some bitch shit. He got arrested for domestic violence, adult victim of physical abuse by male partner, assault by strangulation, brain concussion, closed fracture of the nasal bone, contused ribs, multiple bruises, strain of neck muscle. He hit her back. This is what her statement. I hate that it has come to this, but I can't be silent anymore. I've allowed someone to destroy my home, abuse me in every way possible, and traumatize our kids for life. I have nothing to prove to the world, but I won't allow anyone who could do something so horrible to have no remorse and paint a picture of something I'm not. I won't allow the people around him to continue to silence me and continue to lie. Protect this person. It's unethical. It's immoral. It's truly sick. It hurts my heart because I've always had hope and so much love, and scary as this is for me to do it, it's time to stand up for myself. I won't be silent to protect others and things of that nature. I don't like that it was social, but I think sometimes with these manners, people won't believe it with a high-profile athlete. And this is wrong by all states. Miles, do you have the video of the kid with the kid?
I believe so.
Because that's what really hit home for me. And while Miles is trying to find this,
Is it this one?
yeah, that's the one. While Miles is uploading this, I'll speak from personal experience. I love both my parents. Both are flawed individuals. Both have done the best that they knew how to do with the information that was posed to them. One that succeeded, one didn't do the best, but he's trying. And I don't know what happened in this situation. I just know I remember that date. And I'll never forget it. It's one of the few memories that I actually have. And this is the reason why it's cemented in my head. And I know it's not made up. Because I've heard like Ray Lewis have a similar story about with his dad, and it made me remember my situation. Is that my mom and my father got into some kind of argument. Don't remember about what. I remember I was 5 years old. And I remember my mom being choked. And I remember my mom telling me to call the police. And I remember my dad looking at me, if you call the police, I'm gonna whoop your ass. And I remember feeling helpless. And if anybody knows me, I don't like feeling helpless. I hate it. It is a very like when I feel like I can't do anything, it makes me think of the get back. Like that brain starts turning about. So, but luckily I never got to that point. But I wanted to be big and strong to protect my mama. I always say this: if the woman got the last name Coleman, best believe you're not finna do nothing to her on my watch. So, like I tell people all the time, like and I've had some other situations happen, and I wasn't helpless because I was weak. I was helpless because the person would not allow me to help, and that hurt too, because I'll be ready to go to jail about a last name Coleman. That being said, this kid, brought me back to some stuff. So play that for his mom. And the kid ain't gonna lie about this particular situation. It's wild. It's very interesting.
Mama.
What?
Daddy
How many
choked
seconds is
mommy.
that? We ain't gonna play the full thing, but
Daddy choked mommy? Why?
Because he we needed to fight together.
Well, what did you do?
As I smack him, his daddy doesn't be nice.
You hit him and told him to be nice? What did he do that for, though?
They were fighting each other.
so
Where's your mommy's phone?
and what you got to realize is that this is like what the kids see is sometimes that's what they're gonna feel is right, and that's what they're gonna emulate. So I saw somebody tweet the other day that nobody holds men accountable and blah blah blah. I don't know a man that I hang around with that's cool with domestic violence, man. Just like I don't know a man that I hang around with that's cool with not taking care of your kids. If you ain't seeing it, that means you got some shitty people around you. Everybody that I've seen has spoken out against him. Again, I don't know who the fuck Miles Bridges is. All I know now is that he was up. I saw one sentence. He was up for getting a new contract, and then I seen the next one that he's about to get it, that he done whooped somebody's ass, and now I hope they throw his ass under the jail and be hooping for the prison league. And hopefully he wins many championships in the prison league. But I hope he's held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. But I said that's because again, real men hold each other accountable, and real men have people to hold them accountable. If you don't see men that are doing that, I got news for you. You around a bunch of fuck fans. And if you listen to me enough, fuck ass that. So you need to watch who you're around and stop associating yourself with people, because Twitter, Facebook, IG, all algorithms. If that's what you're seeing, then you're not around no real dudes. And I guarantee you the ones that secretly sugarcoating and saying it's all good are the ones that probably would have bought are the ones complaining about that man taking care of his one kid, giving them that Sprite. By the way, I love all the real men who are starting to stand up and stop letting these women tell us what a real man is.
Preach.
I don't know what a real woman is. I can't tell you. I ain't never bled from between my legs. I ain't never carried a baby. I will never tell you that, but I'll be damned if you tell me what a real man is. All you know is what you think a real man is that you got from 90s love songs. You don't know what it's like to be wear these pants. So stop trying to be. That's the problem with the world. Now, it'd be nice. And again, a lot of y'all arguing with a guy who feeds the streets. I literally do food drives and book bag drives. But the problem is too many of y'all are entitled and too many of these simps that put y'all on this pedestal. But that's not what I hate o'clock is. But I love these skits and this other shit that's been coming. It's hilarious. It's fucking amazing. I love it. Y'all keep being as much as I hate social media sometimes, I love it because it gives like some of you guys the most creative outlooks and like things. It's just dope. Now, this 8 o'clock, I was holding it in from last week. I mean, from last show. But as much as I try to like these golden skinned Warriors, this goddamn Draymond Green does something that makes me dislike him. I hate him. He looks like the donkey from Shrek. It's just his teeth. He just can't sit down somewhere and just be grateful that the devil worshiping Steph Curry gave you this platform. And what I mean by that is he's gone up against Kendrick Perkins, who I don't necessarily care for Kendrick Perkins either. But Draymond's bothering me because Draymond is talking trash. Like he scored 33 points a night in this finals when he was a non-factor. And it's not just that. Yeah, he's gone against Jaylen Brown. He's done these different things. And this is the real thing. Like, can you play it real quick, Miles? Yeah. I want you to hear the bravado and the braggadociousness.
And you're going to go to the media and say he was trying to pull my shorts down. Like, come on, bro. You standing over me. Like, own it. But another thing he said, and I sent it to our team. He said, we are not afraid of the Golden State Warriors. I sent it to our team in the group chat and said, we are afraid of the Golden State Warriors because nobody asked you, are y'all afraid of us? Why the fuck are you talking about that? He's like, we are not afraid of them. We'll do this and we'll do that. I knew at that point, I'm like, yep, this is baby food and this is over and we're going to walk on out of here with a championship.
Bro, nobody is afraid of Draymond Green except for doing that little weird fruit on the bottom, damn fruit on the bottom shit that he did trying to pull that man's pants. We saw it, Draymond. Yeah. There's a video of it, dog. Like you was trying to, like you're trying to do what Dennis Rodman did, except for Dennis Rodman is a GOAT. Dennis Rodman did really get in people's head because they actually did think he was kind of like, we ain't know. We know what, and he was big and strong and like he was aggressive. You don't want to be posting up with a dude with his hands behind your butt like that, like he did in the Dave Chappelle skit about the Charlie Murphy skit about Prince. But Draymond, like, you have a lot to say about a lot of things. Like, you didn't call Kevin Durant after LeBron finally had a healthy Kyrie Irving and they whooped your ass down 1-3 when y'all up 3-1. Like, you didn't call KD and basically, I don't know a lot about Star Wars, but I know this. You basically called him. Probably, no, my bad. You didn't call him. You actually did this. You FaceTimed him. So you did what Princess Leia did to R2-D2. She made the recording and sent it to Obi-Wan Kenobi. It said, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. You Obi-Wan Kenobi KD to get 2 championships, bro. You should shut up. Nobody, they call it the Splash Brothers, not the Splash Brothers and the dark-skinned dude. It's Klay Thompson, the John B. looking dude that should be mad because there's a fat, shorter version of him going around. And why are you people why are the short, stocky dudes trying to play the in-shape, light-skinned versions of themselves? That dude who's fake Drake don't look nothing like Drake. I don't even like Drake like that, and I would know what Drake looked like if he walked in the room. How the hell are y'all getting fake Drake into clubs, having him parade around and do all these different things? Stay on topic. It was Klay Thompson and the light-skinned dude with the wife that talks too much. Those are the ones that people are afraid of. They're not afraid of you. And now Wiggins is going out here balling. It's always somebody, not you, Draymond. You are a mascot. I love the fact that you talk trash. I love your podcast. I love all that stuff. Nobody can take those things away from you, bro. But like, you are talking like it was you who was the sole person behind winning this. I'm sure if you came up, Steph ain't never say, you know what? I needed that motivation. Thank you, Draymond. Thank you. No. You talk all this bull, but you over here begging people to come and play for you, play with you. And I don't know. It's this kind of mindset that's got me wondering what the hell is going on in the NBA. And now KD leaves to go prove that he can win a championship without these dudes and completely destroy the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving is smoking weed, thinking the earth is flat and all this other shit. Granted, doing things for his community as well, but he's weird as shit. Not going to lie. And then they get a coach to coach with them that they approved for them to not want to coach with him, play for him no more. For Kyrie to want to go to LA, who he left in Cleveland because he didn't want to play second to LeBron. Had he just stayed his ass in Cleveland, LeBron would be the GOAT by now. Without any arguments. It's just the NBA has gone mad. I'm all for player rights, but goddamn. Fellas, free game by big game. Don't have threesomes on cruises. Don't fight on cruises. And if you have a threesome, let the woman choose. If you choose the woman that you're with is going to know that there's something there or that you really want her. And don't give more than 65% to the woman that you have the threesome with. I can't go into details, but there's a big fight, went viral. Look at the shit. I think, do we have it, Miles, so we can show the fight? But like, all of this shit started because a man had what every man's fantasy is at one point, or what you think is. It's really not as good as you think it is, guys. I'm just here to tell you as a guy with experience, unless the women are only about pleasing you. If they're only about pleasing you, you're going to have a good time. But if you got to put in work, it's going to be a lot of work. So all of this mayhem and destruction happened because a guy got lucky and got a threesome, and he was giving it to one woman too well, maybe, or I don't even know if it was. Maybe it was when people write threesome, it's typically a man to two women. It's a train when it's two guys. I'm sorry, I know ladies don't like that. They feel like it's derogatory, but I didn't make the rules. I didn't write the book. I just read the motherfucker. And you know, you could try to make it as sensual as you want to. As my friend Nikki loves to say, love wins, but I'm sorry. If there are two guys in the room tag teaming you, you got spit roasted. There's nothing romantic about that. So this is what happened with that. Again, you'll be surprised at what women are down for if presented the right way. But that's about all I'm going to do with this. But here's what I really want. And my belief is this. This is the fear of all geriatric pilgrims who have a good fundamental foundation of what history is. If Black people were as violent as you believe, this is what would happen. But we're not. We're a peaceful culture. We just get down when it's time to get down. I think we have this in us, but I don't think you'll ever have to worry about this. But it goes back to Africa. In Africa, there is one apex predator on this planet that nobody talks about. It's actually two. Two people that I don't want no problems with. I don't want problems with whales, and I don't want problems with dolphins. I actually think the aliens are in the oceans. I don't think they're in space. I think they're already here. And the reason why I think they're already here is because we know way more about space than we know about the oceans. 3% of the oceans have been explored. Now, I really want them to stop rolling up and stop trying to falsely accuse and hit my boys port and starboard on RICO charges for conspiracy to commit murder. So if you haven't looked at it, if you don't watch like the Animal Kingdom and Planet and all these other things, the baddest motherfuckers in the ocean are killer whales. Again, most of the stuff that you believe you were marketed to. Anybody my age, we grew up watching this movie that was great. It was iconic. We all cried. We took field trips. Families remember it. You remember the scene. The little white boy was on the little rock thing. And Willie jumped over him. And the water, which is nasty, the salt water filled with animal with fish piss and poop, splashed down on him as Willie jumps over the thing. Which while Willie jumped, why wasn't the boy concerned? Because Willie's never really jumped that far. And what if Willie didn't make it all the way? The kid would have died, but that's Hollywood. But we all know Willie don't be messing with nobody. Port and starboard wasn't messing with nobody. That's the two orcas' names. That's the official name of a killer whale. They don't bother nobody. But whatever them 8 sharks did, them motherfuckers deserved it. Them sharks did that shit. Because this is why I believe it. They didn't just kill them. They ate the livers and the hearts and left the rest of the shark in there. That is deliberate. That is some maniacal stuff. You only do that when you're pushed to the edge and the extreme. But this is the joke was that they're black and the whites are killer whites. The great white sharks are great white sharks. Y'all believe that it's just it'd be just black people going around killing white people all the time if they could. Just like these, and they want these orcas down because they're killing great white sharks. But this is what orcas do. It's only 2 of them, and there's a whole gang of sharks. The sharks came on their territory, and they're not going to let the sharks take over Africa. They seen this movie before. The whales get taught CRT. They know their history, man. They're not finna let the great whites just come over there and then make Africa something that is not. But all jokes aside, though, that shit is funny and it's wild because everybody knows that the great whites are like the most ferocious shark. When it's not even the most ferocious shark, but it's just they made Jaws. And again, we all think that they're really, really that bad. But like to see a shark in fear is the wildest shit in the world, right? It's like seeing a lion in fear of an elephant or something like that. Like just imagine everything we know to be true is not true, guys. It's literally, and these things don't even eat meat. Not meat like we think. They eat like a whole bunch of like shrimp and stuff. That's how they teeth think. But they just feel like killing sharks today. And they can. It is nothing the shark can do about it besides get got. And now it's little baby sharks run around in terror because daddy got by a killer whale that he crossed the wrong way. So I told you I was going to end it a little bit lighter. I think that was funny. I like to end stuff with humor. Moral of the story: don't beat your wife, and don't run up on an orca or a dolphin, because dolphins play with sharks for fun. They actually torture them. That don't sound like Flipper, does it? just think about all we've known is killer whales and dolphins to be loving, fun animals and creatures, but they're killers. But we need them not to be mad at us, because I'm telling you, they're our only defense against the aliens. We'll talk to you guys more. Probably going to do a show on Sunday. We record because we're probably going to take Monday off. Have a great Independence Day weekend. Pop fireworks. Celebrate the independence. Everybody, don't be that guy. Please don't be that guy that's talking about, well, my people wasn't free. Man, eat some damn barbecue and enjoy your day off. Make sure the British know that we divorced them this on this day some years ago. We whooped their ass in the war. let the world know. Pop fireworks, eat bad food, drink, celebrate, spend good times with your people, man. Because you never know how much more time you have to do that. Book bag drive coming up again. We're about, I think I'm up to like $8,000 now. Should be putting out a lot more press about it, doing different runs. The goal is to get 2,500 book bags. So that's 25 times 36. You do the math. That's a lot. It's time consuming. It's my baby. It's what I worry about. Also, if you're in the Miami area, you got some kids or access to kids. I got 500 free tickets to a celebrity basketball tournament. I believe it's July 21st. Just check my social medias. It's on there. If you got any access to service organizations or the children, it costs you nothing. It's absolutely free. It's on MFTK. And we got some exciting news with Micanopy 1851. But on that note, y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you next. We're going to talk about college football Pangea. And is it coming? And is it something to fear? All right, bye.